everybody. Welcome back to Bedroom Brainiacs of the Center CD. I'm really excited about our video today. Our video is Welcome to Sex Therapy. Here at the Center CD, we are a small group practice of three sex therapists. We provide sex therapy for individuals, sex therapy for relationships, and adult sex education online and in person. I'm Kat. I'm the owner of the group practice, and I'm also a psychotherapist, sex therapist, relationship therapist, and I'm also a professional trainer as well as a sex educator. One of the reasons we're making this video is because it's the idea that sexuality is an inherent part of you that's often ignored in many therapeutic contexts. But when you're with a sex therapist, not only is your sexuality included, but it often gets to be emphasized and highlighted. And so we want to share how sex therapy can be accessible, but also very comfortable. We also want to share that there's not just one style of sex therapy, but multiple styles and approaches, and not just one single therapy or intervention. So we all get to talk to you today, which I'm very excited about. So let me turn it over to Sade to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sade Morris Cade. I'm sex and relationship therapist and sex educator for the Center CD. I hold a master's in public health as well as social work in my pre-license phase supporting the practice. It's good to meet everyone.
Hi, I'm Julie Setting. I am a sex and relationship therapist and a sex educator here with the Center CD. Um, I am thrilled to be here and talk about a topic that is near and dear to my heart.
So, Julie, would you start off talking about why you're passionate about sex therapy and ways in which you approach clients with your styles of therapy?
Absolutely. For me, the idea that sex is so frequently ignored and not discussed is an erasure. It takes away so much of a person's identity. Human beings are inherently sexual, and that is, a normal and regular part of existing as a human, and to have that be minimized or completely erased when trying to navigate the world can really shrink a person and just build a lot of shame and resistance and discomfort. Um, so to me, when I think about approaching therapy and doing work with a client or a couple, um, the idea of using narrative therapy seems perfect, like it integrates perfectly. And to me, the reason that that is true has to do with the fact that narrative therapy's focus is on obtrusive or oppressive social narratives that impede your ability to be an author of your own story, to these narratives that we learn, these things that we're taught about, especially about sex and sexuality, tend to interfere and override our own awareness of our sexual selves. And so to me, it's really valuable to use narrative therapy as an opportunity to create the distance between those social narratives, those things that we internalize that come from the outside, that we're told and taught, maybe not directly, often not directly, and to kind of draw attention to those and separate them out and create space to explore what one's own sexuality and own sexual scripts are, and to empower them to author their own narratives about their own lives.
Can you share what a sexual script is?
So a sexual script is a story that we are told about sex. It may be a sexual script, may be you shouldn't have sex until you're married. A sexual script often includes a word like should or supposed to. I frequently make jokes in my virtual office that should and supposed to are the only dirty words, because when we think about should and supposed to, it immediately tells us this is something we were told. This is something that society or some outside narrative has informed us that this is the right way to do a thing. How about for you, Kat? What do you see as like your passion? Where does your passion about sex therapy really shine through?
I am so passionate about working with people, individuals, or those people in relationships to get more and more comfortable with their sexualities, with their bodies, and with each other. And something that I really love to do, I use you use narrative therapy. I really love to use a combination of like the Gottman method. In the cognitive therapies, I really love acceptance and commitment therapy. And then with sex therapy, I use, and I also use Imago dialogue, and with sex therapy, I really want couples to be able to do conversations with each other. So I usually send questions home with them where they are dialoguing about their own sexuality and asking each other questions about each other's sexuality so that they can reduce shame, increase comfort, and get to know their sexuality of their partner and their own sexuality. But then also something that I really enjoy doing is assigning homework around sensate focus so that once they are ready, and if it's an appropriate intervention with a particular couple, that they are moving away from pressured touch or expectation of touch and moving and reacquainting themselves with mindful, sensual touch. And Sensate Focus is a sequence of touching exercises that actually focus first on sensual touch where like breasts and genitals are totally off limits. So it's more like a sensual massage or caressing activity where the couple reacquaints with touching each other's bodies in a non-sexual way. And what it really does, it helps the couple or the individuals lower their anxiety and get acquainted with each other, reacquainted with each other in a way that is affectionate, low anxiety, low performance. It removes this performance anxiety and helps them teach mindfulness and presence in touch in the moment. And so I love being able to introduce those exercises to couples. And lastly, something I really love to work with couples on is helping couples move away from like the couple against each other, like that, either one of them is the problem, and help them reorient themselves that it's like it's the two of you against the problem, and that there's a dynamic here or dynamics that are not serving you. So let's get you both on the same team and figure out how to unravel the dynamics so that you can be on the same team to work on, fixing it or solving it or improving it together. And that I feel like is really rewarding, especially in the sexual context, because the reward is more closeness, more pleasure, more laughter, more connection. And so I love all of that together. And I get to be able to talk about sex and love and relationships all day. And it often does result in a lot of laughter in the telehealth room or the office. So I think that that's so much fun. So Sade, let me toss it over to you. What do you love about sex therapy and couples therapy, relationship therapy?
Thanks, Kat. So one of the things I enjoy most about being a sex therapist and even a sex educator is having conversations around pleasure and connection, very similarly to both of you, of course. I believe that at any age, topics related to pleasure and intimacy often carry a level of stigma. And many people have had little to no open discussion or education around it. And I just love creating a space where clients can show up as their whole self, and explore how their childhood relationships and life experiences may have influenced their current decisions. I love creating a space where clients can show up as their full selves, and explore how their childhood relationships, life experiences, and all those things influence their current decisions, their relationships as they are adults now. One of the interventions, very similar to yours, Kat, is within the Imago relationship therapy, specifically Imago dialogue. In this process, there is a sender, there's a receiver, and partners get to ask for permission to share very, issues that they may have with one another and or conflict that may arise, or even just sharing a memory. And this gives them the opportunity to share their thoughts and feelings without feeling feel like they're attacking one another. And this gives them an open space to practice that effective listening skills, with the goal of helping each person feel heard, validated, and understood.
Thank you so much, Sade. So one common challenge between individuals and couples that I think that we face in the therapy room is handling sex and anxiety, either anxiety in the bedroom between couples or anxiety just talking about sex. So I would love to hear how your different styles show up in helping couples or individuals or thruples lower their anxiety in the bedroom, either talking about sex or lower anxiety in approaching sex. So let me toss this over to you first, Julie. How do you help individuals or those in relationships lower their anxiety?
Great question. I think first and foremost, which is probably true across the board, is that I model. So like I talk comfortably about these topics, which I remind them comes from professional training, years of practice, and also that like the people who tend to pursue these kinds of jobs are people who want to have these conversations. And so being able to normalize that they're experiencing this anxiety while also modeling an alternative for them is sort of like that's the foundation. And then from there, what I really love to do is explore what their narratives are. And this is generally pretty conversational in nature. I might I'll ask sort of like, what kind of TV did they watch? What were their favorite shows growing up? When was the first time that they remember seeing something sexually explicit in a show or a movie? As well as getting other narratives about like, what are the stories you're telling yourself about this sexual experience or about this sexual performance or about what are the stories you're telling yourself about the type of person who talks about sex, right? Kind of getting in from all the, it's a very like, these stories are all the way around you. And so a lot of them come from media. We live now in a time where most of us have seen more relationship modeling on a screen than we ever have seen in real life. And that's so I like to take the time to kind of remind people, hey, that's scripted. That's not real life. And when we have the ability to change the camera angle, what are we looking at? What are we taking in? What kind of relationships are we seeing on television, and how are they impacting how we think about our own sex lives and our own relationships? And do you like that? I ask, do you like that a lot?
I love that, right? Because then they have to process that for themselves. Like, how does it apply for themselves?
And so it's that ability to, a big part of narrative therapy really focuses on going, these problems, these obstacles are separate from you, and you have taken them on.
Right.
And do you like that you've taken them on? What do you want to do now that we know that and we've acknowledged that? What do you want to do?
Right.
So my approach is, a lot of my homework is very mindful. A lot of my homework is like where the physicality side of things really comes. It's like, hey, you and I in this moment are going to dialogue pretty heavy.
Right.
And then you're going to go home,
right.
Or turn off the computer and sit with the mindfulness of that and like integrate that in with some like, just stay with your body and notice what it feels like when you think about these stories.
Nice.
So that's sort of that integration of like, we're going to take this narrative dialogue and then we're going to get it back down into your physical self and connect it.
Sade, did you have something that you do to help clients lower anxiety in the bedroom or lower anxiety in talking about sex?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I really love what Julie had to say about this, especially around like having the conversations and normalizing their understanding of what sex was for them and or relationships. I too asked clients around what kind of healthy relationships they saw when they were younger, whether healthy or unhealthy, right? And what kind of media did they consume? What kind of standards did they learn within relationships? And what do they want to keep for themselves versus, oh, this may not work out for them, right? So also, did you learn sex from your peers? Did you learn about sex through them? Did you learn it from pornography? Did you learn it from, people in schools? What was the conversation around it? So kind of getting an understanding of what their sex education was really kind of breaks the ice a little bit to open the doors for lowering that anxiety, because now we're having an open dialogue around it, and just understanding what that looks like for them.
Something I do is I have conversations with clients about, when they think about approaching the conversation around, I help them look for resistance, right? When they think about approaching the sexual event, when they think about approaching the sexual conversation, like what thoughts arise, like what feelings arise, like where is the resistance or where is the worry? And then, this pulls on the work of like Lori Brotto, Better Sex Through Mindfulness, or Emily Nagoski. And I want to see like where the brakes are coming on, right? Is it worry about performance? Are we worried about, my partner's really going to want me to orgasm, or my partner's going to want me to have an erection, or I'm going to want to have an erection. And I want to see what worries are coming up, and then which brakes are coming on, and we're going to see if we can actually release those brakes. Oh, well, you have a worry about performance. Let's see, let's see if you can plan a sexual experience that doesn't hinge on performance, like a sexual experience that doesn't hinge on having to have an orgasm, having to have an erection. Oh, okay, so you're worried about like sexual pain. Okay, well, let's talk also about speaking to your doctor about sexual pain. And let's also talk about working with your partner about sexual experiences with behaviors that don't cause any pain at all. Okay, so you're worried about when you give oral sex, your partner's going to expect oral sex to last 20 minutes. Well, let's talk about once, and that's uncomfortable for you. Well, let's talk about giving yourself lots of permission that once discomfort starts, that's time where you switch it up into another behavior. And they're like, wait, I can do that? I'm like, yes, we can. And so we just actually once we talk about how to release these breaks, the anxiety lowers. So that's one of the things I do to help release anxiety and lower anxiety, and help them work with their partners or talk with their partners about planning these kinds of experiences in that way.
I really love to build on that. That idea of like, what's the break, right? Something like sexual pain, right? A very narrative intervention at that point, right? After we've done the thing of like, speak to your doctor, make sure everything's cool, do all those things over there that are really essential and important. But then there is a conversation of like, well, did you learn that sex was supposed to be painful? Because many people with vulvas are taught that the bar for sex is uncomfortable.
That's right.
Right. And so like learning about these narratives, where'd that come from? And understanding that like, once you understand that this is something you were taught, it isn't necessarily an inherent truth, then it can really empower someone to go like, yeah, I'm absolutely getting those breaks. They're gone.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to think the thought anymore, because how dare someone tell me that I was supposed to experience pain?
That's right.
And that can feel, so it's like, I really love to combine, like, I could hear all the pieces of all of us using all these pieces, and just each one of us kind of highlighting one the most in a different interaction. Because there is that combination all the time of like education, like deconstructing narratives, and like getting back to the body and doing that mindful work. And all of it comes together in this very, like, we want to empower clients to author their own sexual narrative and be in this position where they get to experience pleasure and experience their sexuality without that pressure and anxiety and those obstacles.
Right. In this multifaceted way, right? It is like multi-phase, multifaceted. Exactly. All right. Well, thank you. I'm so excited to be able to have this video with the two of you because you're two of my favorite people on the planet. And I always love hearing how you do your amazing work because we do our amazing work in all different ways. And thank you to everyone else for watching our video today. And we hope you come back and visit us in the future. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Please stay in touch with us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, following us on social media, and absolutely please comment below and let us know if you have any suggestions for future topics. We would love to hear from you.